Hey there everybody, this is Andre the Game Idea Guy and welcome to another Pitch for Switch discussion. I'm going to be talking about Xenoblade Warriors because it is a desire among the fandom to see this happen. And hey, as of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it is highly possible for this to be a thing to happen because of the colliding of the two worlds from Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And it all being wrapped up in a pretty little bow where they had everybody repeating a timeline in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. At least that's what my interpretation was after seeing some of the information about it. I haven't actually played the game, so I don't know fully. But, as Mr. Klaus was the one that kind of screwed everybody over, and he was definitely handled by Xenoblade Chronicles 3, we don't need him per se to be the big bad because there could actually be someone else to take up the work that he did and they could be the big bad and they could do things that branch the timeline for Xenoblade Chronicles or mess around with the timeline for Xenoblade Chronicles, which creates a situation where they can access the individual scenarios like Chronicles to Torna, Future Connected, Future Redeemed, which is part of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and the base of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, as well as connecting to X. Now, one of the ways could be utilizing the knowledge of the different Nopons, because they obviously have knowledge of things that are going on, like in the individual scenarios of the world, as well as and as well as things from Xenoblade Chronicles X, they have either a way to communicate through time or to travel through time. Either one of these works because either way, whoever takes over trying to create the perfect world through using Klaus's research, they could use the Nopons as a source of information. Now, which Nopons, that I have no idea. Obviously, they'd have to figure out who they want and who has the information that they need. I have no idea of how that process of elimination would be set. It could be done through torture, any number of different means. Either way, someone takes some Nopons, threatens them, and extracts information. And that could be the basis of the game. Maybe even potentially using said information to send enemies or people back to try to stop certain particular events from happening, like Shulk receiving the Monada. And if you can prevent certain things from happening, that could drastically change the way things went and maybe even lead to Klaus being successful, like completely successful. Either way, it's something that would be cool. And it's not like the design aesthetic of Xenoblade Chronicles as a series doesn't work as a Warriors game. Especially when you have a ton of different characters who take the highlight position. You have Shulk, Rex, Elma, Noah, Mio, Melia. Either way, you have a bunch of characters that have had important roles throughout the series, and having a way to, I guess, reach out to have all of them be interwoven into this story that they're fighting to protect their own timeline or fighting to protect the timeline that establishes their universe in the way it needs to be done. Well, now I'm thinking about it, I don't know how the Xenoblade Chronicles X stuff would affect all of Klaus's work, but you could always make an excuse, like maybe the timeline inverts on itself if certain things don't happen. I don't know. Either way, make up an excuse to bring those characters, because it without perfect knowledge of the series, which I don't have because I haven't played every game in it. I've only played really 2 of them. And I didn't really complete either of them just because of the situation. But that's going to change. I'm going to clear Xenoblade Chronicles either by the end of this year or the beginning of next as a series. But one way or the other, having all of these characters forced into a situation where they have to work together because they are all, one, capable of leading, two, capable of working together and figuring things out, and three, it would just be awesome fan service. It would just be awesome fan service. Now, my particular favorite lead character is actually Elma, but that's not a major thing. But again, I haven't really played the whole series. But Elma's currently my favorite lead character. Now, having someone that can pluck different characters or have them attacked at important times potentially could lead to a Dragon Ball Xenoverse type of scenario where you have a character trying to save or even recruit these characters from different points in time, maybe even stalling timelines the way they are. That kind of reminds me of Eternal Champions. Like Eternal Champions, if anybody's played that, was a fighting game where certain characters were plucked from different points in time and their timeline was stopped when they were plucked away. Their main purpose was to fight in a tournament of battles in order to see who would win, and whoever won would actually survive the incident that was going to befall them. Now, you don't have to do it exactly on that same premise, but taking the part of the idea where the characters are snatched from a particular point in time to save them from somebody interfering with their timelines, like important events. Like take, for instance, when Shulk receives the Monado, or when Elma fights to save the human race before the Earth is destroyed. Those could be ways to mitigate things from happening. Like they figure out whoever is running the show is doing what they're doing, and then they freeze the timelines at particular points so that they can stop whatever is going to happen that interferes with the timeline. It's overcomplicated, but it would work for a story like this. That way those characters can be saved, they can fight or whatever, have their memories wiped of what they're doing for this particular game afterwards, and then put them right back into the situation and have them progress on as if nothing happened. Could be a really cool concept. Be interesting as all hell. And I, for one, would be up for seeing it. I think it would be pretty cool. Now, this could be a game where you do create your own character, if that would be the route that Koei Tecmo goes. And, well, Nintendo wants Koei Tecmo to go, because you gotta deal with several entities here. But they could come up with a brand new character for this particular story, or they could make it a Warriors game. I think it would be the first Warriors game where you actually have to create and develop your own character. And with the scaling of the different move sets for a Warriors game, that could be highly intricate. That could be really, really intricate if you're doing it from the perspective of, okay, you're just given like this laundry list of abilities and skill trees that you can add to. I mean, that would definitely satisfy somebody's need for a massive skill tree and being able to choose how their character develops. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I just feel like it would be awesome no matter what. So, I don't have any particular issue with that being the thing, because that would be an awesome thing. And we all know how it's going to run, because it's a Warriors game and the engine has not changed in decades. So if you're going to worry about some slight frame dips, you are playing the wrong type of game. Don't even think about it. It just makes everything look a little bit more cinematic and a little bit more awesome, especially with the slowdown at the right times. Now, dealing with like the enemies, I would think that like Titan versions of enemies would definitely be boss fights or mini boss fights, and you'd have to have some sort of smaller, more generic style of fodder for the general scope of thing, like the general army that everybody has to take on. So I could see that being a thing, like, and certain monsters just show up in this game again as boss fights that you have to tackle them with the party that you have. Now, thinking about the enemy character here, like, their motivation is to get a certain outcome, and your whole job is to get the opposite outcome. Your whole job is to keep things the same, because obviously their outcome leaves a world worse for wear. But I would think it would be something cool just for this if the character you play as can see what's happening, like similar to how Shulk uses the Monado. But they only get to see this situation once, but they are so vividly locked in on this thing that they know they have to fight to stop it from happening. Like, they only got to see this thing once. This one happening, but it scared all the crap out of them to the point where they knew if they didn't take up some sort of fight against this from happening, that was it. Game over, everything's done so. So, I'm like, that's just me throwing random ideas off the top of my head, but I don't think I can push this concept too much more, because obviously there's already a bunch of stuff that people would want, and we already know how a lot of things would work. The only other thing I would think of that people would be asking for is Xenogears and Xenosaga characters showing up, and maybe in side missions that aren't necessary for the game's main story. But that would require talking to some other companies and working out some deals. I have no idea how long that would be. So we'd have to see how that one played out. But other than that, if anybody's got anything that they'd like to add, go for it. Shoot, throw out your comments. I'm particularly interested in seeing what other people have to say about this. And I know this is something that's going to delight the hell out of Jay's ass. Because he wants to turn everything into a Musu / Warriors game, and I have some ideas, so we'll see how that turns out. But otherwise, thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears open for more stuff from me, and until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out, everybody. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. If you would be interested in supporting my efforts in content creation, please head on over to Amazon and look up The Game Idea Guy Presents Gaming Word Search, and you will find both Volume 1 and Volume 2 up for sale. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to be able to create more content for you in the future. Peace out.